to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll.
Alderman Tobin.
Here.
Alderman Jean-Francois.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderwoman Ray.
Here.
Alderman Kleiner.
Here.
Alderman Green.
Here.
Alderman Witt.
Here.
Alderman Massey.
Here.
President Rodriguez.
Here.
Quorum's present.
Okay, for the good of the city, I would like to welcome everyone to the State of the City Address, and I have the honor to introduce our great mayor, Joseph DiStefano.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. This is taped here. Can you hear me all right, Eileen?
Your mouth.
What's that? Okay, I'm ready to go. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for being here this evening. I stand here tonight, before you as mayor of the city, a community that we all love, that we all cherish, and we hold close to our hearts. And by complying with the city charter and fulfilling my obligation to present the State of the City Address. Before doing so, I'd like to introduce some of our guests here this evening. We have Maria Ingracia representing Congressman Ryan, John Perino from the Middletown School District, Wayne Hawkins from the IDA, our Vice Chairman, and Chairman of the IDA, Dave Madden, Rose Tobiasen from the School District, School Board, Debbie Mills, Police Commissioner, Dr. Zal from Fayetien College, and Superintendent Amy Creedon of the Middletown School District. I thank you all for coming this evening. I'm honored to serve this community and to work alongside our very dedicated group of public servants, community members, and business leaders, many of whom volunteer their time to ensure that our city continues to thrive and grow. As mayor, I would like to thank our legislative body, the Middletown Common Council, led by our council president, Miguel Rodriguez, for their partnership and support over the past year. Together, we have accomplished so much, from investing in our infrastructure and enhancing public safety, to promoting economic growth and supporting our community's most vulnerable residents. We work together to find solutions to complex challenges we face. Your leadership and support have been invaluable, and I'm proud to work alongside each and every one of you. Over the past few years, our city has faced several challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a serious impact on our health, our local, state, and national economies, and our way of life. Despite these challenges, our city has remained resilient and has continued to move forward. As we move out of the pandemic stage, and despite the challenges of COVID, our city continues to make progress on a number of fronts. Our local businesses are strong citywide, and we see a new downtown forming. Our police and fire departments work hard to ensure the safety of our residents. This evening, I will present to you a summary of activities that our city government has engaged in over the past year. I'll look back to last year, and my thoughts on moving forward. But before doing so, I would like to take a moment to express my thanks and gratitude to the residents of our city. I have lived here my entire life in the city of Middletown. My wife Linda and I, also a lifelong resident, decided to stay home here in Middletown, New York, and raise our family. My family opened our business here in 1981, and at the time, the city was in a transition phase, and a lot of people my age were leaving the community. We were all feeling the impact of mall development and, of course, middle-class flight, similar to most small cities. My family and your family are the reasons why I'm here and why we are here as elected officials, working every day to build a better future for our city. Our residents have been supportive of these efforts over the years, and I want to thank them once again for their active engagement in the issues that matter most to Middletown. We have a very dedicated group of employees working for the city, and I would like to recognize all of them and thank them for another successful year. All departments operated beyond expectations. They deserve so much credit for the job they do on a daily basis. Our finance office had a significant change in leadership with the resignation of Kellyanne Kelly after only a short period, a few months, and then the promotion of Leonora Liz to the treasurer position. and the hiring of Rosa Tuminia as the new Deputy Commissioner. Our longtime city payroll coordinator, Anna Aguirre, retired, and we are creating a much-needed human resource payroll division with the hiring of Helen Tatis. As the new city treasurer, Leonora has taken on a vital role in the financial management of the city. The attention to detail and commitment to responsible fiscal management will undoubtedly have a positive impact on our city and its residents. The recent positive audit report demonstrates this effectiveness. An example of financial pressures facing local governments is that state aid to cities and villages has not increased for 14 straight years. Failure to do so results in shifting more responsibility to local taxpayers or a decrease in services. This demonstrates the necessity for the effective leadership in the Treasurer's office. Under advisement from Leonora, the city adopted a policy to re-levy delinquent water and sewer bills. This will avoid the tax default which has occurred in the past for single-family homeowners and other property owners, and protects residents from the loss of property solely for non-payment of water and sewer charges. Leonora has also been instrumental in the creation of a self-insured medical plan option for city employees through Claim Doc Services, potentially saving the city taxpayers and employees money for health care services, along with offering a new flexible savings account to our employees. The city clerk's office has also had a significant leadership change with the retirement of John Numchuck in late 2021 and the welcoming of Rick McCormick. Rick thought I was going to mess that up, into this new position. We all know how exciting this job is. Rick, we all know. And we are welcoming you into this position. But really, it is an important part of the city operation. Rick's focus is to make this office, as the keeper of vital records, more accessible and user-friendly to our residents. In 2022, we saw the implementation of a digital process for requesting vital records, including death, marriage, and birth certificates. Middletown is one of the first municipalities in the Mid-Hudson region to offer these services online. Rick is also becoming very active in the community and has initiated a citywide yard sale to take place on the weekend of June 3rd, 2023. This will coincide with the opening weekend of the farmers market. Rick and his small office of 3 continue to provide excellent service to our residents. Moving on to our senior center, known as Mulberry House. It has a rich history and continues to be a place where seniors 55 and older find purpose and opportunities to be active in our city. The city, along with the program director, Julissa Sierra, continues to invest in our seniors with the various activities and services offered at Mulberry House. The senior program is designed to offer social events, recreational activities, and community volunteer opportunities. We have several seniors volunteering at the center, and the senior program is an essential component of a healthy and thriving city. Our investment in senior programs brings with it many returns, including giving our older residents access to programs and services they need to thrive now and in the future. The program offered 23 social events in 2022, along with over 6,500 rides for city residents over the age of 60 through the senior shuttle bus program. We made property improvements at the facility that included paving the parking area, new sidewalks, and new ADA compliant ramps into the center. The center is active and staff is doing a great job assisting all our seniors. As we move to the assessor's office, Marianne Feely is also doing great work as our city assessor. Her statistics reflect a very busy office, including $13 million increase in market value in 2022. The cooperation and coordination with the Department of Public Works has improved the rental permit inventories. Marianne has also increased public outreach and education regarding exemption eligibility for our seniors, veterans, and more. Marianne has presented to Chief Barber and myself the latest optional tax exemption for volunteer firefighters. We are in the process of reviewing the local requirements to qualify. Once finalized, I will recommend that the Common Council adopt a volunteer firefighter exemption. This incentive, along with the LoSAP program, which has 96 certified volunteers in 2021, will assist the department with their recruitment efforts. According to the Firefighters Association of the State of New York, volunteer firefighters save New York State taxpayers $3.8 billion per year. There is also a move in Albany to create the state's first volunteer fire services capital fund and provide up to $50 million in competitive grant funding statewide for equipment and upgrades to facilities. Governor Hochul has also proposed a $10 million investment to provide stipends as recruiting incentives for younger volunteers. We know the need is necessary. We have although our department is growing, we still have a huge need in that area. So I agree with Governor Hochul and support these proposals, and have done so in writing by supporting the NICOM's efforts in this area also. Our combined paid and volunteer fire department saves city taxpayers significant dollars, millions of dollars per year, while continuing to provide excellent protection for our city residents. Under Chief Barber and his assistants, the department responded to 1,070 calls in 2022. 47% were either false alarms or alarm malfunctions. I will be presenting to the Common Council proposed fines for those who fail to maintain their systems, causing repeated false alarms. This is an area that we've been talking about for years, and then we have a draft proposal I believe is now in front of the Common Council. Another area of concern is ambulance service, and this is not only here in the city of Middletown, but countywide and statewide, and we have to keep our eyes on this moving forward. Insufficient Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement rates, along with other factors, are creating serious service questions, as I said, statewide. We continue to urge our state legislators to make this a priority in this year's budget. Training is also a top priority of Chief Barber, and in 2022, the volunteer department had 2,147 hours of training combined and a total of 80 state certificates earned. It's a job well done, Chief, and we appreciate and thank you for your service. The Middletown Civil Service, jointly managed by Administrator Joe Massey and Pam Welch, oversee the employment of persons in the classified service of our city. This includes 281 city employees, 572 Middletown School District employees, and the Housing Authority. Changes in the civil service system are necessary in order to accommodate the needs of government employers in New York State. I am supporting the efforts by the New York Conference of Mayors to reform the civil service law that would expand the number of candidates eligible for appointment from the Rule of 3 to the Rule of 5, thus expanding the potential pool of employees for government. They are also calling for the all part-time positions to be non-competitive by operation of law instead of local rule, and allow for the continuous recruitment whenever possible. Now let me talk about one of my favorite topics, Corporation Counsel Alex Smith. In his 30th year with the city. I believe there might be only one person in the room with more time, and that would be me. Alex works closely with the Assistant Corporation Counsel, Rich Krogan, on various legal matters that affect the daily business of City Hall. The office has been very busy on the code enforcement calendar, including 128 arraignments with the DPW code enforcement and 273 for police code enforcement. And that is a number that's been growing due to Alex's efforts and working cooperatively with the chief and the police department on what to look for when they're on a police call. Recently, neighbors of a home in the Hampshire section of the city called the police to report a group that was hosting a large party and serving alcohol to people under the age of 18. Turns out this was an Airbnb rental and not permitted under the city zoning. The police department made arrests in this case, but this prompted a deep review of our codes, and we believe that we can do a better job with some changes in our local laws. I will be introducing a proposal to the Common Council this month to modify how we regulate Airbnbs and to prevent unscrupulous owners from renting out their homes and disrupting our neighborhoods. While we are on the topic of code changes, a silent downside to the bail reform has been the utilization of resources in the Orange County District Attorney's Office as it relates to minor offenses. Bail form's discovery requirements affect how DA Hovler utilizes the limited resources of the District Attorney's Office. This has resulted in a majority of minor offenses dismissed or not pursued. In the area of nuisance crimes, I understand the position of DA Hovler, but that does not make it any more palatable for the police department, the residents, or myself. Working with Corporation Counsel, we took the initiative locally and created a quality of life code, allowing for local prosecution of disorderly conduct, obstructing justice, and obstructing governmental administration, and more. This tool gives the police the ability to charge under a local code with city prosecution rather than the district attorney prosecuting, thus freeing up the district attorney's office to prosecute other crimes. An example of this is prior to this change, the DA handled the prosecution of fireworks in the city. Multiple arrests were made each year, but they resulted in conditional discharges or no offer at all. No prosecution, no incentive not to do it again. After the local law changed beginning in 2021, and of course moving forward to 22, we had 54 people convicted of the same charges that they were charged with previously on the local charge and fined over $10,000. This approach is working for us with the quality of life issues, and we believe, based on the feedback from those leaving the courtroom with a $500 fine for using fireworks, that we will not see them again next year. Now let's talk about the Middletown Police Department. Chief Awanchu has presented to the public his annual report detailing activity in the city. After nearly a decade of declining crime figures, we have experienced an uptick in reported crime of greater than 15%. Keep in mind that our 2022 crime numbers are about 50% of the 2017 figures, and our overall crime stats are at or near 1990 levels. However, it is still a concern for all of us in city government. As Chief Awanchu stated in his annual report, I quote, "Our city continues to offer a high quality of life for residents and business owners, and I'm very confident that we can quickly reverse the disappointing crime trends observed in 2022 with just some minor changes to our policing model." I touched on bail reform just a bit as it relates to criminal prosecution of minor offenses. Part of the answer for the crime numbers in 22 and part of the answer for minor offenses appears to be more county funding to the district attorney's office, and the county legislature must provide it. The broken windows theory does apply, especially in cases of small cities like ours. Some parts of bail reform will not change, including the issues of how the DA turns over discovery material to the defendant's attorney in an expedited manner. Agree or disagree, there will not be much change in this area. The city hired a part-time person to address the production of evidence quickly, and the county must do the same. They must adequately fund the office. Adequate funding can address this part of bail reform. Now, there's also a dangerous side to bail reform that cannot be fixed with additional funding. I will present to you some alarming statistics as we elicit the public support in bringing about the necessary fix to the bail reform system. I stated last year that the intentions of the legislative body were admirable, the New York State Legislature. However, the bail reform now needs reform. These reforms had unintended consequences that were simply overlooked. I believe that most of us can agree that minor, nonviolent offenders should not be sitting in jail for an extended period of time pre-trial. It does become an issue of equity, who can afford the cash to get out and who cannot. Under that system, is justice really being served? I would say probably not. I believe it is fair to say that it's extreme to hold someone in certain types of cases, but not all. Where the reforms went wrong and were not addressed were those who are frequent repeat offenders and the most important part is removing the discretion from the judge to review the history of the offender, such as their criminal record and recent behaviors. An analysis of our arrest records indicate that we have many cases where repeat offenders continue to engage in what the state determines to be nuisance-type behaviors, such as petty larceny, assaults, narcotics possession, and even burglaries. Yet, all we can do in many cases is issue another appearance ticket. And then, many do not even appear in court, which is resulting in the additional use of police resources. In 2022, in the city of Middletown, we had 93 people with 3 arrests or more, and 25 people arrested 5 times or more, same people, and 1 person was arrested 24 times. Those who oppose changing the law argue that these types of arrests are nuisance and no big deal. Well, it is a big deal when a person walks into your store repeatedly and steals. It is a big deal when a store clerk is beaten to a pulp with fists. It is a big deal when you make arrests of several offenders charged with motor vehicle theft who are then immediately released back into our community only to steal more vehicles that very same week. It is a big deal, and it's a big deal to all of us. If it is a big deal when it happens in their neighborhoods, the neighborhood of Albany legislators, then it needs to be a big deal when it happens in ours. It is obvious, I think, to anyone who looks at this closely that something is wrong. In early March, we had a violent incident on Sunday morning. The situation could have been avoided entirely if not for the system, the mental health system, the bail reform system, and the private not-for-profit agencies responsible for this man's care, all breaking down. The person who we'll call Mr. A because of HIPAA laws was arrested on a Friday for a strong arm robbery at a gas station. Mr. A is a level 2 sex offender with arrests dating back to 1995 in New York City for 2nd and 3rd degree assault. He was convicted in 1997 for sexual abuse in the 1st degree in the village of Goshen. Mr. A was convicted of 3rd degree assault by the New York State Police in Monroe. In 2022, the Middletown Police had 6 encounters with him. In 2023 to date, prior to this incident, we had 22 encounters with him. Rehabilitation Support Services is his service provider, and they absolutely knew that he was escalating at a fast pace prior to this Friday robbery. The information must be available to the judge when making a determination on bail. All of that information should have been available to him, and he should have been allowed to set bail on Friday. And they should have the discretion as to how to protect the public and the individual in distress. All of those systems failed. In addition, if they sent this person to the county jail on bail, or with bail, he would have received the assistance that agencies were unable to get him prior to this beating. This is a reality. Does releasing him without bail make sense? I don't believe so. Well, on Sunday morning, just 2 days later, while still escalating, RSS called for mobile mental health to deal with the situation. At 10:04 a.m., they responded, requesting police backup. Why? Were they concerned about their safety? We see nationally the argument is, don't send a cop to a mental health call, send a social worker. It doesn't work. And they knew it. Were they concerned about their safety? Absolutely. After a brief interview, they determined no further action was necessary at that point, and he was not a danger to himself or others. That was a determination made by the mental health professionals on site at 10:04 a.m. At 11:02 a.m., he was disorderly at a local bakery. And at 11:15 a.m., he attacked the victim in the street. It appears that he was a danger to others. We are a community demanding answers. What the New York State Department is overseeing the agencies providing these services. Which one? Can RSS and state mental health professionals explain how they can ignore their very own concerns regarding this person for days? Who is holding these agencies accountable for their actions? How do we get answers on what these agencies are doing in our communities with our tax dollars and the tax dollars of New York State taxpayers? How do we get answers from those in the need of the immediate mental health treatment released by hospitals? How do we get answers for those in need of immediate mental health treatment released by hospitals with minimal review? The governor, Senator Skoufis, and Assemblywoman Gunther are all on board now to correct what they believe is a failing system and that the system needs change. I thank all three for addressing this issue, but they need a vocal public statewide to push this. The legislature must restore the discretion of the judge when it comes to certain bail situations and allow them to make determinations based upon the facts. This aspect of a bail reform experiment was a mistake, and the New York State Legislature needs to correct it. Meantime, the Middletown Police Department continues to function at a high level. They continue to do excellent work in response to the impacts of bail reform failures. Chief Awancho has recommended, and I have approved, establishing of a crime suppression team to address street-level crimes. Other special units created in response to the resident feedback include dedicated traffic enforcement in our neighborhoods to address V&T issues in our residential neighborhoods, and we have increased the number of our officers in our narcotics unit. We did have some minor changes, some management changes in the department. While we had an unprecedented number of senior members and supervisors retire this past year, this also allowed for the numerous promotional opportunities, and many are taking advantage of that. In addition, well, one of them is, I believe, our acting chief tonight, Lieutenant Bureau Commander Hargett. So welcome to you too, sir. In addition, Chief Awancho has requested, and I have approved, the hiring of 3 additional patrol officers, bringing our staff up to 75 sworn officers. This was done in conjunction with the Police Commission and funding by the Common Council. The department is utilizing proactive enforcement measures, while Chief Awancho and the department continue to focus on community outreach. Programs such as the Police Academy, Cops and Cookies, Trunk or Treat, ice skating and marshmallows, along with new offerings like the Youth Leadership Council and Academy, are a few examples of this outreach. We find this to be very effective in reaching young kids. We also need to reach our teens, and that is much more difficult. We had a couple of incidents this year where young people, kids in their middle to late teens in possession of guns, have shot at each other in neighborhoods, through the cars, in cars. While thankful that nobody was hit, it is a concern that the department is very focused on. We actually have a good idea of who they are. In some cases, we have spoken to their parents, and unfortunately to no avail. And that is part of the problem. We need this to be a team effort, and I implore parents with kids who are having street trouble to call the chief, contact the police department, and allow them to help your child and your family. There are resources that we can assist you with, and help is available, and you should take advantage of it for your child's sake. While we are on this topic of young people in our community, let's talk about the Middletown School District. There are now 5 school resource officers working very closely with the district, along with the 2 Good for Drugs program. We see what is happening around our country regarding school violence. City police train constantly, and this is something we see on Facebook all the time, people raising questions. But we train constantly in school setting drills. We conduct regular safety meetings. We establish open lines of communication between the city, the town, and the district. I meet with Superintendent Creedon monthly to discuss city and school issues. Chief Awancho meets weekly with district safety personnel, numerous phone calls in between these meetings, and there is constant communication. The chief and his team, in collaboration with Superintendent Creedon, have truly set the pace for local training and local training efforts across this county. Through this work, law enforcement officers from across the county have participated in multiple trainings within our schools in order to ensure our teams learn as much as we can about community and school safety and practice alongside community partners. This year, the Middletown Police Department leadership partnered with the school district administration on youth mental health first aid training, as well as joining together to attend a mass catastrophic event training and simulation. Teamwork like this is an example of how our city and school are leading the way in terms of school safety and hopefully calming the fears and concerns of many of our parents. But input from parents and students is valuable and is an important part of school safety. But at decision time, after all is said and done, I urge you parents, I urge you students, but mostly the parents, to trust the professionals that you have in place, whether it's your school administration or the Middletown Police Department and the Town of Wallkill Police Department. Trust our professionals. I understand also that the superintendent has made some tough decisions, especially lately, regarding cell phones and school safety that have been met with some strong dissent from what appears to be a very vocal minority of parents, at least from my observations. As a grandparent of kids in this district, and as mayor, I agree with Superintendent Creedon regarding these school disturbance and safety policies. This district offers so much opportunity for our kids. The city collaborates with the district on summer playground and lunch programs. Our young people are moving more and more to eating healthier because of the work of the city, the Parks Department, the Rec Department, and the schools. No young person has to struggle with food insecurity as a result of our summer meals program. The district prepares and delivers to the parks, and the city employees distribute. District food services help by providing for a range of special summer events, including the MPD pop-up and barbecue events, which have become a cornerstone in the development of positive community and police relations. The Parks and Rec Department and the schools also collaborate to support the fundamental literacy skill development and access to books by using the Parks and Rec Department's van to deliver books all summer long at no cost to the city's young people. The district also provides us with the use of their facilities at no charge to assist in training and recertification for lifeguards. We co-host the annual back-to-school barbecue, as I mentioned, health and activity fairs, and we will be hosting the BOCES English as a Second Language program at our rec facility this year. We do this because we care about our city, our schools, and our kids. Community amenities are helpful as families make decisions on whether Middletown is the place to live and a place to raise their children. While safety and security are also key, the school district is usually the main factor, and the factor that was cited a few years back in that Kipling report for making Middletown a desirable place to raise your family. I can assure you that together we are doing everything possible to ensure a safe and secure environment for our young people. Another aspect to consider is what this district offers in the way of opportunities for young people. The course offerings and facilities are on par with some colleges. In some cases, students are graduating Middletown High School with a year or two of college credits to schools like Syracuse University, Jacob Twiel's alma mater. Ask to tour the Middletown High School. Come to a meeting with the school board or even a meeting with the superintendent. Jacob and I attended a forum this morning with Congressman Ryan and Congressman Molinaro. And I respect both, and both are doing good work. But the difference that jumped out at me was that when Congressman Molinaro was responding, he was knocking down New York. He was knocking down the community that he represents in a way. And when Congressman Ryan responded, very passionately, he said, that's not our role. We're leaders in the community. We need to be a positive about our town, in our cities, in our community, in our region, and our schools. And he went on. And that's the point with Middletown residents too, is we have so much opportunity and so much to offer for your kids at this school district that it's okay to tell us that you don't like something. But once the decision is made, as I mentioned earlier, you need to get around it, and you need to be supportive of it, because this constant badgering does no good even for you, if you want to look at it personally, that if you're a homeowner here and you're knocking your own community, you're knocking your own schools, and you want to leave this community, you're going to knock your own value of your own house down. But, so it doesn't make sense from that perspective. It doesn't make sense in reality either, because we have so much here to offer to our families and to our kids. So I believe we can all agree that a strong relationship and trust between the city and the community, parents, students, and school board is vital for a variety of reasons. You know, my old friend here, John Perino, who's sitting out there in the audience, has always offered me the sound advice that what is, and I'm sure he's going to remember because he said it to me 1,000 times, especially when the days were not so good. What was good for the school district is good for the city, and vice versa. And that certainly does apply. So working together, we can provide a more comprehensive education experience for students, you can as school district leaders, for your kids, and that will lead to greater success in life. As you can see, I can report to our residents that at no time in my tenure here at City Hall has a relationship between the city and the district been better, and at no time has there been any more opportunity, including when I attended Middletown High School myself. Mary Zahorchik attended a few years later than me.
Excuse me.
I was in better classes than her, though. I was more advanced classes, she wasn't. The opportunities for our kids to thrive. So I just had to ad-lib that, that's all. And I'd like to switch gears and go on to the usual star of the show, Jacob Tweel, the Public Works Department. At least Jacob believes he's the star of the show. On a serious note, Commissioner Tweel continues to evaluate, improve, streamline, and modernize our DPW operations. After years of evaluation and studying different alternatives to improve our sanitation department, the operation there, we decided to invest in a different technology. By purchasing mechanical arm-equipped garbage trucks and packers and providing recycling and garbage carts to our residents, we achieved a lot so far. So we replaced 3 of our trucks. Expensive, capital cost, capital outlay, but we did it. We directed our sanitation department employees not to lift carts or garbage containers any longer. We were seeing a huge increase in workman's comp costs, and we have now seen a decrease in workman's comp claims in that department with a mechanical arm. We have significantly improved the quality of life in our city by having uniform-looking carts and containers throughout the scheduled pickup areas, and the carts are covered so that garbage is no longer blowing around in the streets. And it's also minimizing, believe it or not, the impact of crows, which we suffered with for many, many years. We are reducing the sanitation department staffing from 15 to 11 employees, as promised, and we'll do further reduction to 9 employees once we redesign our pickup routes, now that we have a pretty good hold on this mechanical arm trucking. We're also going to change the ward pickups from 5 days a week to from 4 days a week to 3 days a week, and then 2 days for recycling. So we'll be more efficient in the recycling area. As promised, we're not having any layoffs, but we'll be transferring employees from the sanitation department to other DPW departments that have vacancies. You know, we can talk about the great success we are having with recycling, but we must also follow the rules. Otherwise, it will backfire, and has backfired, and truckloads will be rejected by the county, costing city taxpayers additional dollars. We need to re-educate ourselves about what acceptable recycling is by following the basic rules in our recycling brochures, which are posted on our website, on all our social media outlets, and on Channel 20. We are also including brochures and rental permit mailers that will be included in the water bills, so we're trying to improve our communication. And stay tuned for the new app that will be coming soon. Some of you have noticed that your recycling has not been picked up, and that is because you're not following the rules. So we have to, we cannot pick up your recycling when it's in bags inside the containers and or overflowing, because we do not want our drivers to get out and lift the cans. So please follow the rules, and we're going to do a better job communicating to you. As you all know, we are an old city with old infrastructure, and it's imperative that we continue the Tweel mission of invest, upgrade, and rebuild a more resilient infrastructure. This includes water, sanitary and storm sewer systems, city street improvements, parking lots, sidewalks, and we've been doing just that. Last year alone, we completed $3 million in repaving throughout the city. We currently have $100 million in capital projects dating back from 2017 up in, or in the design or draft stage or ongoing. These include the citywide traffic operations and the ADA curb sidewalks program at $30 million. Does that mean I'm done, Chief? All right.
Yes.
I'm only about halfway there.
He said banks over here.
Go.
But the citywide sidewalk programs, the watershed protection at $7.5 million, the watershed, or water storage tanks at $5.3 million, dam upgrades approaching $7 million, and a new Middletown transportation hub at $7.5 million. A majority of these projects are funded from state and federal grant sources. We have been very aggressive in seeking funding for our projects, and we have had great success in this area. Our success with grants enables us to address capital needs without significant impact on our taxpayers. This spring, the citywide ADA compliant intersection program will kick off year 2 of 3 on this project. Almost every signalized intersection will now be ADA compliant with new traffic signals, pedestrian crossing signals, and new sidewalks 200 feet in each direction. This will create a more walkable and bikeable city, which is one of our goals. This project was funded almost entirely by grants, including federal transportation funds through Orange County, ARPA funds through the federal government to the city, DRI funds, which were the Downtown Revitalization Initiative funds, and approximately a 5% local match. This will enable us to replace almost all of our sidewalks in high pedestrian areas in our downtown area. Work will begin on Phase 2 in mid-April. Our water and sewer systems are our lifeline to the future. Water and sewer are among the most essential infrastructure systems in our city. They are responsible for providing safe, clean drinking water to our citizens, as well as disposing of water in a safe and sustainable manner. We cannot overstate the importance of these systems, as they play a crucial role in promoting our public health and supporting the local economy and protecting the environment. The city owns and depends on miles of raw water lines outside of the city to convey water from our reservoirs to our treatment plant. Maintenance and future development is very expensive. These raw water lines are as deep as 30 feet, so you can imagine the costs associated with either repairing or replacing. This future project, along with our ongoing replacement of water mains, requires us to be innovative as to how we will fund these improvements. New York State has been moving more in the direction of partnering with local government on water and sewer development and protection. The state recognized many years ago the importance of safe roads to both quality of life and our economy. As a result, they established an annual funding stream called the CHIPS program, the Consolidated Local, State, and Highway Improvement Program. New York State voters in 2017 passed a significant bonding source for the Clean Water Infrastructure Act to help local government fund infrastructure and fund these projects and facilitate water source protection. The reason for the passage is to protect our water and sewer infrastructure, and rather than wait for an emergency condition to arise, the state must and should follow the CHIPS model and make these funds available to all local governments that operate these systems on an annual basis through a formula. We can then plan long-term investments in infrastructure repairs and replacement, knowing that the source of funds is available, thus saving municipalities and taxpayers money. Funding something in the short term, not knowing if there's going to be a funding source 2 or 3 years down the road, is not the way to do this. In addition, we have created a business model here in the city that raises revenue from non-traditional sources of government. Our septic hauler generated $420,000 annually by accepting private septic for treatment. Our CPV agreement generated $524,000 last year for selling gray water, which is treated sewage, to the CPV project. The Indigo agreement with Orange County, negotiated by myself, Jacob, and the county executive, Steve Newhouse, was a major milestone for the city. This significant water source passed on by prior administrations is necessary to increase our daily safe yield. As we now move forward on developing this resource, the city has engaged with the New York State Department of Mental Health and DASNY to provide water and sewer services to the proposed new Mid-Hudson Forensic Psychiatric Center. This will require the state to install approximately 3 miles of water and sewer mains down Route 17 into the town of Wawayanda towards Goshen at no cost to the city. This project, along with the delayed Amy's project that is hopefully coming online in the next couple of years, will create significant water and sewer revenues for the city to dedicate to capital projects and stabilize rates. We also have the ability to collaborate with surrounding communities to wholesale these water and sewer services, helping to also offset capital costs. An important part of DPW includes code enforcement, which is staffed by 6 full-time code enforcement officers. They are responsible for providing a safe and pleasant living environment for our residents, and they do so by focusing on safety and quality of life issues. Abandoned properties have negatively impacted many communities throughout New York State, Middletown included. Annually, even this year included, I continue to support the New York Conference of Mayors legislative proposals that will strengthen the uniform fire prevention and building code enforcement authorization and authorize administrative adjudication of local code violations, allow municipalities to pierce the corporate veil of shell corporations that abandon property, and permit cities to file claims against fire proceeds on all properties, not just commercial. These are impactful proposals and important tools to add for increased code enforcement effectiveness. Moving on to the Heritage Trail for an update. We know the Heritage Trail is now from Hartley Road to East Main Street, and it opened in May of 2022. Segment 3 is in the design stage, and that is not complete, and we expect that to be complete in the near future, and the work is expected to begin in 2024. We have an upcoming meeting with the head of the Orange County Parks Department to get a more updated briefing, but that was the last briefing that he gave me. The city court relocation project had hit a bit of a snag, and we've been in negotiations with the New York State Office of Court Administration for many years, trying to accommodate their requirements. After years of considering options, we agreed on the former federal court site on South Street, with the original construction cost estimated at approximately $3.5 million. This proposed move would also allow for the expansion of police headquarters. If this project moves forward, we will need some we will need some Office of Court Administration funding to make it work. We are also near completion on 2 projects funded by New York State Rising, a $3.5 million grant. The Grant Street culvert is about 90% complete, and the West Main culvert, the bridge replacement, was completed on time. Commissioner Tawil, along with the assistance of John Bianchi from the Parks Department, oversaw the construction of Woolslayer Field. This project includes sports fields, a walking track, concession stand, significant parking, and the field will be the new home of the Middletown Youth Football and will complement the expansion of Davidge Park and with the Heritage Trail bisecting the 2 areas. Due to the park being vandalized by a non-city resident, the official opening was slightly delayed. And an update on that young man was arrested, and the damages came to approximately $12,000, and we are seeking restitution. So Woolslayer Field is now open to the public for your enjoyment. The repairs have been made. It's a beautiful field, a beautiful walking track. Miguel and I walk on it frequently. It's a little bit of a lie, but it is nice. The city of Middletown has always led the way as it relates to providing programming that promotes positive youth and family development. And Superintendent Raylan Berthoff leads the rec department along with Assistant Superintendent Nicole Sarakis, both of whom are in their 2nd year of leadership. Our recreation programs provide a range of cultural and educational activities. We design our programs to help foster a sense of community and promote cultural awareness and encourage lifetime learning. With changing weather, we realized our winter outdoor program activities needed a boost. This is why we added the Middletown Ice Skating Rink to our many citywide sponsored events. Located under the pavilion at the West Main and Union Street intersection, the feedback on this has been very positive. The rink, paid for by federal HUD funds through Maria Bruni's office, will be a staple in the downtown area for many years to come. We provide 3 public swimming pools also in the city, with Davidge Park being the largest. In 2022, we had to shut down the Maple Hill pool for safety reasons. The pool is approximately 50 years old and cannot be repaired. This raises questions for city government. Do we replace the pool at a potential cost of $2 million or examine other options? First, operation of the pools has been limited in recent years due to a significant shortage in lifeguards. This trend does not appear to be ending anytime soon. And I can tell you our recent course offering, free to train lifeguards, was attended by 0 people. Certification and scheduling are major issues for maximizing our pool usage. We recently offered free of charge, as I said, the lifeguard certification course, and not one person showed up. Davidge continues to have decent attendance numbers, but prior to closing, Maple Hills were trending down, and Sproat Street is significantly down. Council President Rodriguez and I have had discussions with Alderman Kate Ray and Alderman Johnson about this issue, since it's their ward, and we decided, and along with them, all of us decided to seek a citywide and neighborhood input regarding the move forward. They put together a survey, SurveyMonkey, posted on the city website and social media, and as you can see, the results show support for a splash pad. Faced with declining attendance difficulties and staffing and the significant cost of construction, I do not foresee myself supporting a new pool, but I am open to the idea of a splash pad and possibly other amenities to complement the park. In addition, we continue to offer community outdoor recreation activities like the Reservoir Trails, and we are moving forward with plans to connect the Reservoir Trails with the Heritage Trail at the expanded Oliver Avenue, Davidge Park area. By investing in recreation programs and facilities, cities can create a better future for their residents, our kids, and build stronger, more connected communities. One of our many goals in 2023 is to find better ways to connect with our Hispanic community, the majority population, according to the recent census data. We have made significant progress over the past few years, offering both indoor and outdoor soccer facilities to their league, and also ESL programs, as previously mentioned, at the rec center. We strive to meet the demands of our community, and the rec department appreciates the community feedback and support, so ideas are welcome. I have also placed a major emphasis on economic development in our city for the past several years. As businesses grow and expand, we held 20 ribbon cuttings in 2022. Mr. Massey, I believe, attended 16 of them. It's a 75% attendance is not good. They provide employment opportunities for our residents. This contributes to the overall economic stability of the city. Another important impact of the economic development is increased tax revenue for both our city and our school district. As businesses grow and thrive, they generate the tax base used to support important public services. The Office of Economic and Community Development, led by Maria Bruni, fosters economic development, redevelopment, growth, expansion, attraction, and retention of new and existing businesses. They are also responsible for our housing assistance and neighborhood stabilization programs funded by the federal government. In 2022, many communities passed on local rent gouging laws to protect residents. As expected, the courts found these local laws to be illegal. I am hopeful that this year, New York State will pass legislation that allows municipalities like Middletown to have control over excessive rent increases. The state needs to authorize communities like Middletown to devise their own plan based on local occupancy rates to protect tenants from 30% rent increases, as we've seen, and protect those tenants from landlords and protect the neighborhood from landlords who do not take care of their property. At the same time, though, the state must protect property owners from bad tenants, speed up the eviction process for non-paying tenants, and those who damage property or commit crimes, such as selling drugs out of their apartment. There are practical approaches to the rent problems that are best solved on a local level, not with a state mandate. So as a result of these unconscionable rent increases, and one of the results is homelessness. Many communities turned their backs on this issue. We here in the city of Middletown did not. The Middletown warming station, the previous location, is no longer viable, as we all know, because of COVID. The city collaborated with the Greater Middletown Interfaith Council to renovate the former Mulberry House Senior Center on Mulberry Street as the new location for the warming center. We completed this using federal COVID funds, and the project received national recognition from HUD and from Congress. The warming station's first season at this new location was the winter of 21-22. The station was open for 138 nights, serving 121 separate individuals, along with providing 5,466 meals. Now let's shift to the economic development side. This office oversees two public authority agencies that they administer and manage: the Middletown Industrial Development Agency and the Middletown Community Development Agency. The department also develops and promotes civic and cultural affairs, offering film and live programming at the Paramount Theater and various locations in the city. The Paramount Theater is one of the area's finest examples of community support for restoration of a downtown landmark in this region. Movies were reintroduced 10 years ago at the Paramount, and in 2022, we had 49 weeks of first-run and limited release films, and also classic films and city-sponsored movies. The theater hosted 25 live events in 2022, including hosting the SUNY Orange, the Main Street Hudson Valley Conference, and several live performances, such as Melissa Manchester, Taylor Dane, Peter Noon, the Herman's Hermits, my favorite, and of course, Jimmy Sturr. Another example of historic preservation is the O&W Station project. Rehabilitating this property will restore a key piece of local city history. This project, while slowed down due to COVID, is now moving forward once again. We must seek additional funding as the project costs nearly doubled post-COVID. Assemblywoman Gunther secured 2 grants for this project, one $2 million through DASNY and another $4.1 million in CARES Act funding through New York State. And they were secured with the help of Governor Hochul. Thanks to the county executive, Steve Newhouse, for an $800,000 grant of Orange County Home Funds. And the city is also injecting $4 million in federal ARPA funds. We've applied for federal and state historic tax credits to fill the large gap. Once completed, we will be able to move forward. Phase 1 of the reconstruction has been placed out to bid for environmental abatement and shoring of the building. We will have a firm timeline once the tax credits are processed, and I'm still very confident and hopeful that we can restore this important part of our city's history. Our city homebuyer program has been a huge success. We are on our 15th home, creating home ownership opportunities, utilizing local and state incentives. Creative programs like this are one reason why Middletown was the 4th fastest growing city in New York State during the last census. I'm thinking a Trump sentence. This program has resulted in $57,000 in back taxes paid to the city, and these formerly vacant properties are now fully occupied homes. Based on our distress levels, we did not meet the threshold of New York State for a land bank. Newburgh does have one. We began this program to mitigate neighborhood blight while creating home ownership opportunities, and it has exceeded our expectations and beyond what we can imagine. Another focus of the plan has been the development of educational facilities. We all know Toro and SUNY Orange by now. Once again, meet Faytien College. Dr. Zhao was here in the back, and Faytien is just moving at such a rapid pace that we appreciate the investment and welcome you to the city of Middletown. I encourage our residents to take a ride through the former MPC Center, and you will see a blossoming college. It's operating now along with the Northern Academy of School. They are projecting 2,000 students in 5 years. They will continue to rehab these old, beautiful buildings abandoned by New York State. We will be jointly expanding the campus footprint in the next few months, utilizing some of the transferred structures from New York State to the city. At that time, I will be requesting that Tuckerman Hall and the Kleiner Building be conveyed to FATN with the same development goals that we put in place on transfers of other properties. I propose we continue to partner with the college for the continued renovation projects. Together, FATN and the city secured a $1.2 million grant from New York State for the renovation of the former nurses' building for college dorms. This project, in conjunction with the Northern Medical Center on campus, is paying huge community dividends. We continue to work with Shenyun, a worldwide dance group that features Chinese history, as they begin to locate some of their operations here in the city, creating jobs and economic opportunities. A few large projects that are also in the works in the downtown area are 33 Fulton Street and the former Chase Bank. 33 Fulton is now the East Coast home of Ganjing World, which recently relocated from California. Founded by Chinese dissidents who fled communist China, the company seeks to provide a new form of clean social media. When build-out is complete, we are hopeful that this property will employ over 100 people in this high-tech industry. Upper floor apartments and first floor commercial have been proposed for the former Chase Bank on North Street. The planning board will be receiving the application shortly. The planning for the transportation center has taken a step forward as we collaborate with Orange County Planning and our consultants, BFJ and Dropkin Strategies. The final design options are currently under consideration, and a meeting is coming later this month with Orange County Planning Department. With the assistance of the Orange County Partnership, the city was also successful in attracting Polycraft Industries, a printing, converter, and laminator company of fine, flexible packaging, to our industrial area off of Highland Avenue Extension. This factory will create 120 permanent jobs and 171 construction jobs. As you walk downtown, the improvements that have been made are hard to miss. There are new sidewalks, granite curbs, and reconstructed green parking lots. The former Festival Square is now John Degnan Square, has been completely rehabilitated, including the relocation of our annual Christmas tree. All of this is part of our downtown revitalization program. The ice rink, the skate park, the successful facade program, the streetscape improvements, with more to come. All of these efforts have been focused on making our city a better place to live, work, visit, and do business. We updated our parking ordinances, trying to balance the needs of our tenants, our business owners, and our customers. This continues to be a work in progress, and I hear those voices who don't agree with it. But we are seeking positive results here, and regarding the turnover of new parking spots, we've seen positive results, including much more business activity in downtown. A major part of people coming back downtown is also cleanliness. And the bid district participated in the purchasing of 2 litter urban vacuums this past season. DPW continues to pick up trash 7 days a week, and we have installed new trash depots and allow downtown residents and business to bring trash to the depot rather than cluttering the street with bags. You see what New York City is going through right now by placing garbage out curbside. So far, the results have been a cleaner downtown. Our goals for 2023 are ambitious. They include the construction of a parking garage in our downtown to accommodate our growing residential and core business community. We are working with Senator Skoufis on this project, and we hope to have a major announcement in mid-April. As we come to the end of my State of the City address, I want to express my gratitude for your attention and for the opportunity to serve you as mayor. Over the past few years, we have faced several unprecedented challenges as a city. We have weathered the economic instability. However, through it all, we have remained resilient, and our city has continued to thrive. I am proud of what we have accomplished so far, but there is still more work to be done. Let us stay committed to our goals to continue to build a city that is inclusive, sustainable, and the kind of place that you want to live, work, and do business in. As your mayor, I'm committed to working tirelessly to address the needs of our community, working closely with our members of the Common Council. I believe the state of the city is strong. I am confident that through this dedication and commitment of the Common Council, our department heads and our employees, our Council President Rodriguez, we will build a brighter future for ourselves and for future generations. Thank you very much.